Hello and welcome. Today we will follow on from our first air defense video by looking at three other key fighter interceptors from the Cold War. The F-86 Sabre Dog, the F-102 Delta Dagger, and the F-106 Delta Dart, flying from Air Base Hamilton in Northern California. Development of the Sabre Dog began in the late 1940s, and it was an interceptor derivative of the North American F-86 Sabre. While the original Sabre was conceived as a day fighter, the F-86D was specifically developed as an all-weather interceptor. It shared only 25% commonality of parts with the original Sabre and had a larger fuselage, a larger afterburning engine, and a distinctive nose radar. It also had no guns, instead mounting unguided folding fin Mighty Mouse rockets, which were considered to be a more effective weapon against enemy bombers. The Sabre Dog first flew in December 1949, and nearly 3,000 units were produced. Such was the importance of the type that it was also used by many NATO air forces. The interceptor relied on a Hughes fire control system that was linked to a retractable belly rocket pack housing 24 Mighty Mouse rockets. The fire control system directed the aircraft to within 500 yards of the target, at which point the rocket pack was automatically lowered and the rockets fired, without direct control by the pilot. A similar system was also used in the Dagger and the Dart. The USAF retired all Sabre Dogs by 1961, but the type continued its service with other nations until 1974. One of the Century series of aircraft, the Convair F-102 Delta Dagger, is one of the great Cold War interceptors that blended speed, new design concepts, and modern guided missiles to blunt the danger from nuclear-capable Soviet bombers and other threats. Frequently called the Deuce, the F-102 Delta Dagger was the world's first operational supersonic all-weather aircraft and used a futuristic delta wing design. The F-102 was developed without a gun. Its mission was to intercept Soviet bombers like the Tupolev T-95 Bear, and the design called for missiles only. It had a 3-section internal weapons bay instead of pylons for missile launches. It was the world's first supersonic all-weather jet interceptor and the USAF's first operational delta wing aircraft. The F-102 made its initial flight on October 24, 1953, and became operational with the Air Defence Command in 1956. At the peak of deployment in the late 1950s, F-102 equipped more than 25 ADC squadrons. Convair built 1,000 Delta Daggers, 889 of which were F-102As. The USAF also bought 111 TF-102As as combat trainers with side-by-side seating. In a wartime situation, after electronic equipment on board the Dagger had located the enemy aircraft, the 102's radar would guide it into position for an attack. At the proper moment, the electronic fire control system would automatically fire the 102's air-to-air rockets and missiles. Although an F-102 Bravo was developed, it had so many design changes that it was redesignated as the F-106 Delta Dart. The F-106 Delta Dart officially entered service in 1959. And it became universally known as the Six by its operators and ground crews. It served as the US Air Force's primary all-weather interceptor throughout the 1960s. The prototype aircraft proved to be disappointing, and there was serious discussion to terminate the program. But the US Air Force persisted, following a push from the Air Defence Command. Modifications were made, and that resulted in the service placing an order for 350 aircraft, significantly fewer than the planned fleet of 1,000. The singular mission of interceptors meant that there was no future for the aircraft in the changing world. Development of ICBMs meant that the Soviet Union likely wouldn't need its bombers to hit targets in the United States, reducing the need for supersonic interceptors. In addition, development of multi-role aircraft, including the McDonnell Douglas F-15A Eagle, resulted in the end of the line for dedicated interceptors, and the Sixes were passed on to Air National Guard units. Though it never saw combat, the F-106 remained in service until 1988, while NASA retained 6 that were employed in a variety of research programs that included the testing of supersonic engines and later in lightning strike research. That's it. So hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time.